What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of the if statement series, and in this video we're going to look at some more advanced if statements by covering something called the else function. Now if you haven't seen part 1 of this video, I'll leave a pop-up banner in the top corner and in the description below. I highly advise you go watch that video first, as it is a build-up of this video. Now with all that said, let's get started. In the last video we looked at simple if statements, but today we are going to make them a little bit more complex. In the last video we looked at if statements that tells you if it's raining and if it's a male. This time we're going to make those if statements respond if the condition is set to false. In my Python file I'm going to create a boolean variable. Let's call it car underscore color underscore red, and let's set it to true. Now we want to check if the car color is red. We're gonna say if car color red is equal to true. Don't forget the colon, as this tells Python this is where the if statement ends. Now when you click enter, we'll move on to a new line, and your text editor should automatically indent the line. On this line we're going to create our print statement, and in this print statement let's say you have a red car. Now when you run the program, down here it's going to print you have a red car. Now when we set the variable to false and run the program, down here it's going to print nothing. This line is blank. This is where the else function comes in. I created a text file, and in here I'll explain the else function. In the example, let's create a variable called sunny day, and let's set it to true. Then down here we're going to create an if statement that says if sunny day is equal to true, print don't forget your sunglasses. If we were to run the program, it would print out don't forget your sunglasses. Now if the variable was set to false, now this is where the else function comes in. The else is like saying otherwise. If the condition was false, do something else. Now this part is very important to create an else function. The first thing we do is move on to a new line, and on this line we type else and a colon. Don't forget the colon, otherwise you'll get an error message if you don't add the colon. Then we'll click enter, and this should automatically take us to a new line as well as indent the line. And on this line is where we're going to type out our print statement, and in this print statement let's say don't forget your umbrella. Now let me explain what's going on. On this line we have a boolean variable, and if the variable is set to true, we'll print don't forget your sunglasses, and if the variable was set to false, we'll print don't forget your umbrella. By the way, this is valid Python, and you will be able to run it if you were to run it in your Python file. Now let's move back to our Python file and our variable car color red. Now we can use an else function. Like before, we move on to a new line, then I'm going to type out else and a colon. This colon is very important. Now when we click enter, we move on to another line, and our text editor should automatically indent the line. On this line we can create our print statement, and in this print statement let's say the car is not red. By now we all know what will happen if the variable was set to true and we run the program. It's going to print out this line, so I'm going to skip that part. Now that we have our variable set to false, we should print out the car is not red. Let's run the program to find out. Down here we can see that it prints out the car is not red. In the next video I'm going to explain the elif function. Stay tuned for that. And that concludes this video. If you have any constructive criticism or any questions or anything, comment it below. Consider leaving a like and subscribing. Turn on post notifications to be notified when I publish a new video. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.